Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Uncle Danny's TV.
Can't believe the work say. Chop man, kill you man, them in the car.
Just out in front of this happening, you know.
On the 3rd of February 2024, disaster struck in Withorn Square, Westmoreland. It is alleged that a heavy-duty commercial truck traveling eastward towards Caledonia collided with a parked car, causing horrific injury and fatality. In the parked vehicle was Mrs. Rosie McDonald, otherwise known as Mama Rose, a well-known citizen in her community. She was sitting with her two daughters, Avis and Paulette, and her son-in-law, Winston.
My name is Winston Eslott. I'm starting on February 2nd of this year. Me and my wife decided to come to Jamaica here for at least 1 week vacation. Successfully come to Jamaica on the 2nd, and on the 3rd day we decided to go to Withorn to meet someone. So while we were there waiting, my wife and her mom was in the back seat watching a video on their phone. Me and Avis was in the front seat just chit-chatting.
On February 3rd, myself, Paulette, her husband, and my mother, Rosie McDonald, we were traveling to South. Upon reaching Withorn, I parked. So anyway, we sat there talking and laughing for a while until we saw a truck coming, which seems to be out of control. And upon reaching the square, he lost control and it hit a child off his bicycle. It two axes, the embankment of the shop, and it ran into my vehicle and right it off.
So my wife screamed out and said, "It's coming." And by the time we look up on the brace for it, here come impact. So I was out for a while. When I wake up, then the truck was on top of us, all the way on top, crushing the front all the way in.
The driver came out of the vehicle, out of the truck, and he ran.
And yesterday, April 15, speak with the police that is in charge of the case. He says someone have to be able to identify the guy that was driving the truck, because he had jumped out of the truck and ran away. And we could only go after the owner of the truck right now. There's no eyewitness that saw this person driving the truck.
Father came out first. He was trying to get me out, but I was stuck underneath the dashboard. So I had to pull back my seat a bit and force myself out.
Just out in front of this happening, you know. Holy man.
Our face smash up. No, where him there? Where him was driving truck? Where him there?
Him come out, him jump out.
Kill people, brother. Yeah, on the call of the ambulance now.
Derek came through the back door and somebody assisted my mother right away and took her to the hospital. Mom went to Cornwall Regional in the ICU intensive care unit where she was. Myself and Derek was admitted in the hospital.
I stayed there from the 3rd and through the 8th, where I get discharged, come to the house here, spend one night, go back to New York on the 9th, get admitted at Westchester Medical Center, where they perform a chest tube in my side to draw some fluid that I accumulate while I was in the plane going over. So I stayed here until I think get released following Thursday, which I come home now and you're trying to get better.
I spent 1 month and a couple of days in the Savannah hospital. I did 2 surgeries, one on my leg and one on my left arm, left leg. I did both surgeries. Derek got 6 broken ribs and Paulette a broken ankle. My mother head was injured bad, which she died as a result of those injuries.
All occupant of the family car suffered horrific injuries. Avis suffered a broken arm, a broken leg, and laceration to her face. Paulette suffered a broken leg, sustained injuries to her arm, and laceration to her face. Winston, 6 broken ribs and laceration to his face and body. Mama Rose suffered horrific head injuries, including a cracked skull. She subsequently passed away on the 20th of February 2024. She died from her head injuries in Cornwall Regional Hospital, St. James.
Up until now, nobody has been held responsible for the damage or for the accident. The owner said he wasn't here when the accident took place. The driver, or the suspected driver, went in with his lawyer and was instructed not to say anything. The police said he cannot make an arrest if he doesn't have an eyewitness. The judge will throw out the case if there is no eyewitness. But I asked him what happened to the investigative skills. Got no answer.
Questions arose about the police handling of the inquiries into the incident. Despite the severity of the situation, the police investigation left much to be desired. Without a thorough examination of the circumstances surrounding the accident, many were left wondering what exactly had gone wrong.
This is hearsay. I heard he gave himself up, but I don't know what advice he got after that. They did not hold him that day when he went and turned himself in the first time. So the second time when he came back with an attorney and he refused to talk.
So basically, what he's saying is that the truck is insured, so we must go through the insurance. So what happened to the manslaughter? Because you're just going to allow these careless drivers to just drive and kill people?
Furthermore, crucial steps in the investigative process were overlooked. The police failed to conduct forensic analysis on the vehicle involved in the accident to ascertain if the truck was roadworthy. This oversight raised serious concerns about the safety standards of vehicles on the road, potentially putting other lives at risk. Witness statements, a fundamental aspect of any investigation, were neglected by the authorities. Without gathering accounts from those who were present at the scene, the police were left with incomplete information to piece together what had happened that fateful day.
And it's so sad because what I get from talking to the person the police who did the investigation, the interest is not there.
Additionally, no fingerprints were taken, further complicating the efforts to identify any potential suspects or contributors to the accident.
Because she died, we must just go and claim off insurance. No, a crime has been committed. We need justice.
The driver of the commercial vehicle responsible for Mama Rose's untimely death, Jermaine Jackson, had finally turned himself in to the Savannah Lamar police station after days of evading the authorities. PC Adams, an officer from the traffic division, was tasked with investigating the accident that had claimed Mrs. McDonald's life. As required by law, PC Adams advised Jackson of his rights to an attorney, before any formal arrest could be made. After a few days, Jackson returned to the station, this time accompanied by his attorney. During the questioning that followed, Jackson's responses were a repeated refrain of no comment. His silence only deepened the mystery surrounding the events of that fateful day. In the end, without sufficient evidence or a confession from Jackson, the police were unable to press charges against him for the accident. The legal system's hands were tied by the limitations of the case, leaving a sense of bitter injustice lingering in the air. Despite the lack of cooperation, the family and friends continued their campaign, determined to bring justice to Mrs. McDonald and her grieving loved ones. As the days passed, the memory of Mrs. Rosie McDonald lived on in the hearts of those who knew and loved her. And while the driver of the vehicle escaped legal repercussions, the weight of his actions would remain a burden on his conscience for years to come. The town of Darliston would never forget the tragedy that had taken one of their own, leaving a scar that time could only partially heal.
Greatest auntie in the entire world. My name is Desmond, otherwise known as Ratty.
Go party here now, me know Miss Rosie. So Miss Rosie was my good friend.
As the community grappled with the loss of Mrs. McDonald, the lack of evidence and investigative rigor made it impossible for the police to charge the driver of the truck or anyone else with her death. The incompetence displayed by the authorities left many feeling frustrated and disillusioned with the justice system. Speculation arose that the shortcomings in the police investigation could be attributed to a lack of resources. Understaffed and underfunded, law enforcement agencies may struggle to effectively handle complex cases, leading to oversights and errors in critical investigations. In the aftermath of this tragedy, calls for reform and accountability within the police force grew louder.
So I think we should really make sure that everything is going legally. Yeah, we should have a campaign for justice for Miss Rosie. She's a lovely lady. We can't make it go like that.
The residents of Darliston demanded answers and justice for Mrs. McDonald, hoping that lessons would be learned from this unfortunate incident to prevent such oversights from occurring in the future. The people of Jamaica should unite in calling for reforms in the justice system, particularly in how the police investigate road accidents. The response to such incidents had long been marred by inefficiency, negligence, and sometimes corruption, leading to a lack of accountability for those responsible for reckless driving and unnecessary loss of lives. Determined to seek justice for Mrs. McDonald and prevent similar tragedies from occurring in the future, community leaders, activists, and concerned citizens should come together to demand change. They should call for stricter enforcement of traffic laws, improved training for law enforcement officers in handling accident investigations, and increased penalties for reckless drivers who put the lives of others at risk. The pressure from the community will prompt the government to take action, leading to a series of reforms aimed at overhauling the justice system's approach to road accidents. Specialized units should be established within the police force to investigate traffic incidents thoroughly, gathering evidence, interviewing witnesses, and holding accountable those responsible for causing harm through their negligence. Additionally, public awareness campaigns will help to educate drivers about the importance of road safety, respect for traffic laws, and the consequences of reckless behavior behind the wheel. These initiatives aimed not only to prevent future tragedies, but also to foster a culture of responsibility and accountability on the roads of Jamaica. As the wheels of change will begin to turn, the memory of Mrs. Rosie McDonald lived on as a beacon of hope and a catalyst for progress. Her legacy will inspire a renewed commitment to creating a safer and more just society, where every life is valued and every tragedy is met with swift and fair accountability. Though her presence was irreplaceable, her spirit will continue to guide the community towards a brighter future, where the streets of Jamaica will no longer marred by senseless loss, and where justice prevailed for all who fell victim to the perils of reckless driving. The residents of Darliston demanded answers and justice for Mrs. McDonald, hoping that lessons would be learned from this unfortunate incident to prevent such oversights from occurring in the future. Mama Rose's body was laid to rest on the 20th April 2024. Hundreds of families and friends were there to show their last respect.
Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Uncle Danny's TV.